Well, Dragon Ball Daima Episode 4 has finally released. A lot of people enjoyed it, but there are also some people in the fandom who absolutely cannot stand a few things about this series. So before I get into the actual proper episode review, I wanted to take a minute to address some of the concerns that fans have. Some people have a really big problem with the pacing, and then some people have a problem with the general tone and feel of the series. So let's just talk about those two things before we get into the episode. The pacing is a little bit slow, but I like the pacing. It's more of a classic adventurous Dragon Ball pacing. If you watch the peel-off arc, the very first arc of Dragon Ball, this is kind of comparable to that, where things are moving by, they're going to different locations, they're encountering different enemies, and there's still like an overarching plot, but it's not like flashbang like, oh, quick, here we go, jump into the action, blam, blam, blam. I feel like a lot of people probably got used to Dragon Ball Super really hitting you over the head with that. And even in Dragon Ball Z, the pacing wasn't as quick as Dragon Ball Super could be at times, but it was also like not as slow as OG Dragon Ball. And I think this Dragon Ball Daima anime is really leaning into the OG Dragon Ball direction, which I personally really enjoy. Now, let's talk about tone and the general direction that they're taking with the story. So, Goku is the main character. This whole thing started with Goku. I understand we're missing other characters like Gohan, Tien, Yamcha, Android 18, Krillin. We're missing a lot of characters in the show's story. It's mainly focusing on Goku and Supreme Kai. And then, of course, according to the outro, hopefully, and the little eye catcher thing and stuff, we're basically going to be getting Vegeta and Piccolo throughout this series a little bit more, and then Bulma. But they haven't showed up yet in the main story. I'm assuming they'll have to show up eventually. So there's a real emphasis on Goku going back to his roots and having a classic adventure as a kid again. And you got a little of that in this story. But I think a lot of people are so used to like Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Z and how they handled like the action and like honestly the story in Super, we can most of us can agree it was a little bit lackluster in terms of how it was executed and also in terms of how grand everything got. Basically, at the end of Dragon Ball Z, they were way too quick to introduce alternate universes and the God of Destruction Beerus. And then he's not the ultimate force in the universe, it's actually Zeno. And then Zeno's erasing entire universes and stuff. So I feel like they went so grand and the scale got so big, they decided to dial it back a little bit with this show and just do more JRPG kind of adventure elements. And that's, I think, a big thing that a lot of fans aren't really into. They want to get back to like the big action flash heavy Dragon Ball Super thing. But I think this series is doing a good job of kind of introducing a little bit of a new thing to Dragon Ball with the whole magical other realm stuff while also combining it with OG Dragon Ball feels. So, I just wanted to address those two concerns that the Dragon Ball fandom has right off the bat. Do I think it's bad? No. Some people are saying it's bad. I don't think it's bad. I do think that they need to establish a few things more directly. So in this episode, they established like the main plot is going to be rescuing Dende and then collecting the Dragon Balls. So you'll be collecting the Dragon Balls to rescue Dende, and then you'll go back to the Earth to use the Earth's Dragon Balls. But we'll get into a little bit of why I don't think that is, and I think Glorio has sinister intentions that he's not letting on. Anyways, with all that said, let's get into the episode. First off, I wanted to say I'm really happy that every episode we get new reasons as to how Goku's been nerfed. So not only are his limbs shorter, so he's got to get used to fighting again, this air is thick, so he's got to get used to fighting again, and not only that, but now that the air is thick and they don't have the plane, their stamina depletes whenever they fly through the thick air. So now they're not going to be flying much. I love how they're handling this. They're really like doing a good job of balancing all these different reasons as to why Goku isn't like super powerful like he was when he fought Buu. Like, I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. I thought they handled it well. But one thing that I didn't like was like the scene right after it, they fly over a cavern or a canyon or whatever it is where the great darkness is, the pitch black darkness or whatever they called it. And I thought to myself, Well, I understand that this doesn't break what they established, and they explain that they're literally just flying over the canyon real quick. But that still kind of was a little weird, if that makes sense. I'm not saying it was the worst thing in the world, but it was a little weird. And then Goku, like, he makes this observation. I guess you need to fly to get anywhere in the demon world. Yes, Goku, yes you do. Now, Glorio impressed me here because that big monster from the trailer shows up here, and Goku has a hard time handling it because he has a hard time flying, which, again, I'm a big fan of that. But now, Glorio, of course, being a third Demon Realm native, does a great job of flying around and easily defeats this monster, punching it a lot, too. So, basically, what this establishes, for you Sparking Zero fans, Glorio is an actual fighter. We saw that in the last episode. This episode we learned he's like flying around and stuff too. I don't think we've seen him shoot energy blasts yet, so maybe that's why he uses the gun. Also in this episode they established that he doesn't really know what ki is. So I guess that is exactly what they're establishing, is that he wouldn't be able to shoot energy blasts, so that's why he has the gun. That's interesting and has a lot of story opportunity for other characters in the Demon Realm. And we also finally got a look at the troll creature that Toriyama drew for I think it was the San Diego Comic-Con event recently. No, it was the New York Comic-Con event recently. And they revealed the troll design, so it was cool finally seeing him. So, we got a couple of reveals, and this reveal right here we'll talk about in a second. Well, not that one, but there's one of the reveals about Fusion that we'll talk about in a second. So, the revive bug is interesting. This is really going to come in handy for Goku and company. And I just obviously needed to make that observation. It's a sensu bean, basically. So, we have a lot of plant stuff going on in the Demon Realm. Very compelling. Now, feed 2 halves to people. So, this is interesting. So they specifically say feed halves to 2 people, but there are 3 individuals here, and then there's 1 ultra strong demon person. Now what I think is interesting is there are people online saying, oh, a 3-way fusion? There's no way. You're right, there is no way. I think what's happening here is the person on the left and the person on the right are 2 people, and this is basically symbolizing them fusing from the back, and you can kind of see like different pointed horns on the head, and then boom, you get this person. So it's got like 2 ears on the side, 1 horn, 2 ears on the side, 1 horn. So I think this is just establishing like what it means for them to 2 people fuse into 1, and then boom, you get the ultimate being. Because they specifically say 2 people. Now, obviously, this is obviously hinting at Vegito, or maybe a Piccolo and Goku fusion, because Supreme Kai and Glorio are specifically offered by Goku if they want to fuse, and they are like, no, we don't want to fuse, we hate bugs. So I don't think they're going to get to the point where they're so desperate that they will eat bugs to fuse, unless it's a joke, kind of like how Vegeta says he doesn't want to dance to fuse and then does it anyway. So this is the big part where I'm thinking to myself, are they setting up Glorio being like this secret villain of this whole shebang? Because he obviously entices Goku with the Dragon Balls, and you know, we saw in the last episode Glorio's tricky and he's not afraid to threaten people to get what he wants, but in this episode he also kind of tricked the shop owner and kind of haggled with him to kind of get the price lower for the transportation things to where they flew really fast. So you're thinking to yourself, wow, Glorio's a little bit conniving, right? But, you know, they need to get where they're going, so Glorio's going to do what Glorio's going to do. But then he tells Goku about the Tamagamis. At this point, it's clear that he knows Goku loves a fight, and he loves to test himself in his own strength. And you're telling Goku that he can collect Dragon Balls like he did as a kid for fun, so Goku's interested in that. And then he says the Tamagami are supremely powerful and nobody's ever defeated them before. That just makes me want to try it more. And then Glorio does a little bit of a smile here, and Goku's like, let's just go use the Dragon Balls and become adults and then rescue Dende. Now, that's an awesome plan. And I was like, oh, so they really aren't committing to them being kids the whole series. They're just going to do it for a little bit and then, you know, kind of become adults again and then take care of things. But no, Glorio manipulates Goku into basically going after the Dragon Balls to wish for Dende to basically be freed, and then they'll return to the Earth and then use the Earth Dragon Balls to become adults. Now, the reason why I think Glorio wants this is because he doesn't plan on using that wish for Dende. Because in the first episode, they established there's a difference between black magic and white magic. And basically, the Earth's Dragon Balls are white magic, so they can help people. And the black magic basically has to be used for bad things, I think, is what they were basically setting up. Or if not that, then something similar, I have to assume, because they did make a clear distinction between white magic and black magic, and that the Demon Realm Dragon Balls are black magic. So, I don't know if you could wish for Dende to be teleported to them. I think what's going to happen is Glorio, obviously manipulating them, I think he wants to use the Demon Realm Dragon Balls for himself. For what reason, we don't know, but it has to be for a bad reason. And I think that bad reason could be power to get like unlimited power to defeat Gomah and become the new Demon King after Gomah or something like that. So keep your eyes on Glorio. Now, this is another big thing. King Gomah feels that the demand for offerings has been too lenient. His guards are pressuring this village to basically give more and more money, and if they don't give a certain amount of money, then they get their souls sucked out or something. And that's what I thought it was. But no, after the scene plays out a little bit, you figure out that people are just using years of their life. And then you get brought back to what Gomah promised Neva in the first episode, with the years of his life being taken or being given. So Gomah has been extending Neva's life a long time. He said something like 1,000 years or something like that. So that makes me think, wow, these guys are way worse than I give them credit for, because originally I thought, you know, Gomah's a villain, but they're probably playing him like a peel-off character where he's kind of comedic, and he's not actually that evil. But no, Gomah is sending his people to take life force and then giving it to the Neva character, which is interesting. Like, if Neva won't let you use his Dragon Balls, why is Gomah so like dead set on supporting Neva for such a long lifespan? I'm still waiting to figure out why that is. I mean, I guess he's resourceful enough that he was able to get to the Earth and use Neva as an asset, so I guess that makes sense there. So, but yeah, I really do enjoy like how they're laying these little seeds of like the life force being drained and how that's going to come up later. So obviously Neva probably knows about this, unless he's so senile he doesn't know where his life force is coming from. So this kind of further establishes Neva as like a pretty bad guy, I guess you could say. Even though I'm not sure he's exactly that bad, but maybe with this he's probably really bad. And then we get the reveal of Pansy, or the masked Majin at this point. It kind of fails spectacularly. The smoke bomb fails, and then all the guards go after her. And then we get that awesome action sequence that we've seen in a lot of trailers. We get to see the full thing. Goku goes crazy in this episode. I really love the action in this episode, so if you are not a big fan of how Dragon Ball Daima is paced currently, maybe this action will make you think otherwise, because I think a big problem with Super was they had some action. It was mainly like an action show, and the plot wasn't the best at times, but the action also wasn't animated the best most of the time. Even like the default animation and stuff, like Goku most of the time has a really cool detailed face. In Dragon Ball Super, the noses were really weird looking and stuff, so that's another thing I'm really still loving about Daima, is the animation and how they treat the characters. And then we get to see Pansy in the last scene of the episode, and then boom, cut the credits. So I do think Pansy has her own role to play. She's obviously not a fighter because she was running away. She's more of the inventor type. So I think we're going to have a situation where Vegeta, Piccolo, and Bulma will get to the Demon Realm, and they will be like a separate party, and they will be in charge of like maybe Bulma being like the inventor type of them. And I guess the thing with Pansy is she's kind of an inventor type, but her inventions fail spectacularly because of this. So I guess that's what they're setting up here. Anyways, what did I think of the episode overall? I thought it was a good episode. I think we're getting a lot of new hints at things to come. Now, let's talk about spoilers from the leaks, because I do want to keep these reviews spoiler-free for the most part, and give a little bit of a spoiler warning. So here's your spoiler warning. I basically given my review. I guess to give it a point, I would give it a 7 out of 10. Again, 7 out of 10. 7 doesn't mean it's bad. I really enjoyed this episode. 7 means it's good. Alright, so let's get into the spoilers. We've all heard the spoilers, the leaks, the rumors of these Cybermen. And we get a shop with a bunch of plans, with a bunch of strange powers, a bunch of beans or bugs or whatever, right? So, I'm thinking Cybermen have always been thought of as lettuce people, but I think there's a bug element to them as well. They are probably setting up something like that. So, that's just another thing to keep in mind. The Demon Realm has some weird plant things going on, some bug things going on, and I do think that all of that stuff will come into play. Now, they did say, Goku mentioned the sensu bean, and she didn't know what a sensu bean was, but again, that's just like a whole other can of worms, because the sensu beans are more of an Earth Realm Korin thing, so yeah, that was a little bit of a spoiler that I wanted to mention and see how they're setting it up in this series so far. Then, of course, there's other spoilers, like how there's like another villain that we have yet to see. So I think maybe that could have something to do with if Gomah gets the Demon Realm Dragon Balls, or maybe Gomah fusing with somebody. So yeah, that's other things to be thinking of whenever you watch the series. Anyways, guys, that will be it for this review. If you did enjoy this review, make sure you let me know in the comment section down below. I do plan on reviewing these more and more. Obviously, like every episode, I want to do a review. And lately, I haven't been able to do as many news videos because the news hasn't been crazy. And I've also been kind of really busy IRL. So yeah, that's been it for this video, guys. Like I said, if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Peace off.